Amirawa Hopa. Thank you for joining us. I am Aaliyah Chavez. In the deserts of the acclaimed Lithium Triangle, the promise of wealth clashes with the age-old traditions of the surrounding Indigenous communities. ICT's Brandolyn Clark has the story.
Nestled in the heart of South America's deserts, in what's known as the Lithium Triangle, centuries of tradition are colliding with the pursuit of the future. But in Argentina, indigenous herder Irene Flores de Cayeta knows her way of life is threatened by the mineral wealth beneath her high desert home.
We
will lose everything. What will we do if we don't have water? If the mines come, we'll lose our culture. We won't be left with anything.
Covering parts of Argentina, Chile, and Bolivia, the triangle contains the largest known lithium reserve on Earth. More than 5 centuries after the Spanish first arrived on these shores in search of riches, the quest for this white gold threatens a new invasion. The mineral is mined by drilling into the aquifer beneath the salt flat. As briny water is removed, fresh groundwater is drawn in and mixed with the salt water. Salt from the evaporation ponds and leftover piles can also seep into the aquifer. De Cayete's town is one of many located near 2 giant salt flats, or salares. For centuries, the Koya and other indigenous peoples have herded sheep and llamas across this arid landscape.
We are guardians of the highlands. We defend our land. We take care of our motherland.
More than 30 companies have applied for mining permits in the area. Now, De Cayete's daughter Vilma wonders whether hers might be the last generation to live this way.
In Argentina,
I know Argentina is very rich in lithium, and that's why everybody is invested in our country, especially from the north.
This region is so rich in resources, rare earth minerals, lithium. The Lithium Triangle is in this region. There are a lot of things that this region has to offer.
But to De Cayete's people, this place is more than just a collection of minerals.
And we are resisting because the water is very important to us.
More than important, the water is sacred. When local lawmakers adopted a new constitution that made it easier for mining companies, thousands of indigenous people marched on the Capitol.
Now they want to sell lithium in the name of clean energy, but at the cost of polluting the salt flats, destroying the Puna, the valleys, Jujuy, and poisoning our people.
And there are those, like 30-year-old Elizabeth Mamani, who embrace the economic opportunities that mining can bring.
Our lives changed a lot because before we didn't have enough to eat when we lived in the countryside. Today I'm finishing my home and I have a pickup rental business venture.
But many in Argentina fear the same water depletion occurring in neighboring Chile, where companies have been mining lithium for decades. The Chilean government and native communities are suing the mining companies for drying out the southern part of the Atacama salt flats, where indigenous herders had grazed their animals for generations. The biggest players in the region are the U.S.-based Albemarle Corporation and Chilean chemical giant SQM. Albemarle spokesperson Marcelo Valdebenito says mining's impact on the environment has been minimal.
No, this has been like this for millennia.
At this SQM facilities, pumps extract up to 8 bathtubs of salty water per second from the ground, while mist from the evaporation process is carried as far away as Brazil. The resulting lithium deposits will power the batteries used by Tesla and other corporations that promise to help climate change.
We're living through a crisis in which we have big obstacles, but we also have solutions. Lithium represents one of those solutions to electrify transport.
Like the Koya, Sonia Ramos feels that her people, the Atacameños, are being asked to sacrifice their way of life to save the planet others have all but destroyed.
Maybe when we are gone, the territory will be completely conquered and we would have existed like other cultures that disappeared from the planet. We're the last voices that remain in the desert, and that hurts a lot.
Brandolyn Clark, ICT News.
The Navajo Nation is suing the Department of the Interior over withheld funds. The Navajo Nation claims unlawful withholding of over $1 million for its contracted forestry management program. The 10-year program aimed at preparing 14,000 acres for timber sales. However, the Navajo Nation proposed 4,000. The Bureau of Indian Affairs cites inadequacy, withholding $500,000. The Navajo Nation argues BIA cannot decline renewal without changes in scope or funding. A new National Health Alliance will hire more doctors for tribal communities. The American Indian Medical Education Strategies Alliance will address physician shortages by advocating and advancing policies on a federal level. Consisting of 24 urban and rural tribal organizations, medical schools, and other health professionals, the alliance advocates to bring graduate medical education partnerships to tribal health facilities. According to the Indian Health Service, the mortality rate for American Indians is 33% higher than the overall U.S. death rate of all other races. Alliance leader and Oglala Lakota citizen Don Warren emphasized that to promote Native health equity, improved staffing at tribal health facilities is needed. In California, the Pinole City Council recently changed its logo that some felt was problematic. The city's previous seal, dating back to 1965, depicted a Native American man with arms crossed against the backdrop of San Pablo Bay. However, following residents' recommendations to stop using a human mascot, city officials created a new one. The city says it relied on community survey responses and feedback from the Confederated Nations of Lisjan to craft a new seal, instead honoring the East Bay's original inhabitants. Newly classified endangered species and their habitats are now being protected. The Biden administration reinstated a rule last week protecting plants and animals that are newly classified as threatened. The blanket protections were dropped in 2019 under a set of changes to the Endangered Species Act. Since then, specialized plans were made for newly listed endangered species. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service will reinstate this decades-old regulation, which may benefit freshwater mussels in Alabama, as well as other species facing a major decline in population.